Welcome back, you chuds. This is part 3, and this time, after a little bit of feedback and some questions on my last couple videos about Battlegrounds, I decided to make the video. And if you have seen the first 2 videos, I promise you in this video, you will learn some new things about this class and about gearing. Good news, guys, we hit 500 subscribers. I really appreciate y'all. Now, in this video, you're going to learn everything you need to know about shadow hunting in the Battlegrounds, including gear, talents, cooldown and macros, and of course, some gameplay, where I'll talk about positioning and other tips. BGs aren't my favorite, but I promise if you watch this video, you will top frag. I'll keep this simple. When it comes to gearing up, there's basically 4 tiers of gear. Heroic Bloodforge, which costs gold. Your COA PVP gear costs honor, which they just added this new set of gear. And then honor gear, which costs 2 to 3 times more honor than your COA PVP gear. And then your arena gear, which is your BIS, costs conquest points. If you just hit 60, you're going to go to the auction house, get your Heroic Bloodforge gear, hop into the arena or BG, spend your honor on the honor gear, spend your conquest points on your arena gear. But there's a bit of nuance about BIS for each slot. For example, my weapons has a really nice set bonus. You get 300 ranged attack power for 12 seconds. I like this. I'll probably replace this last. Also, from the COA PVP gear, these gloves here have a nice equip bonus. It has a chance on hit for fat, lazy chuds to subscribe to my channel. It gives me movement speed by 15% for 6 seconds. The pure stats from arena gear would be better, but I'm probably going to hold on to these. I might even just consider these the BIS, because the Shadow Hunter, we kite a lot, and that movement speed mobility is key. Sometimes that wins you games. Obviously, the first thing you want to buy with your arena points is the ranged weapon. This is your bread and butter. This is where you're doing most of your damage. As for honor points, first thing I did was grab some of my set pieces. I want to get the 20 resilience and the 20 agility set bonus as quick as I can. Also, there's a cool thing here a lot of you don't know about. Go to the honor quartermaster PvP rewards. As you can see here, there's obviously head and leg enchants as well as shoulder enchants that you're going to want to go for, but there's also weapon coatings. These are important before you join a BG or you join an arena. Make sure you put these on your weapons. You can get extra resilience and other stats. This one is armor pen. We got spell pen. This one reduces the effect of disarm, which is really good. This one's for silence and interrupt. Normally I'll go for one of the silence and interrupt or the disarm, but then I always go for an armor pen. Since I'm dual wielding, I can equip 2. As for talents, you can just see here, I'm not going to go too in depth with my talent. You can just take the build and swap things out as you see fit. The main things to look at is the bottom here, the last 6 talents on both sides. These I will interchange with my playstyle. For example, on the shadow hunting side, I really like Serpent Handler. This is just nice for that extra damage burst, but sometimes I'll swap this out for Fool's Play. This is better for arena. There are instances in BGs when I like to run this in a Wrathy Basin. For example, I'm holding down mine by myself. It's nice for the one-on-one potential. Serpent's Guile is just really good. I pretty much never swap that off. I always use it. It's just pure damage. Same thing with Veil of Darkness. You always have this, and sometimes you can come down and grab the Loa Communion for the increased damage on that. From my experience, I like to have that extra healing done. These 2 I always have in arena as well. I never swap these 2 out. Right here, this is kind of interchangeable. The reduced mana cost is good for longer fights, but this, since I'm in a BG, there's more chances for my stuff to get dispelled. I like to have this on. Another thing to look at for your playstyle, if you want to do this, if you find yourself using Spirit Glaive a lot, consider looking at these 4 talents. I don't know exactly how you would break up your other talents for this, but it's nice. It just increases your damage done. This one, for example, an extra 600 damage at the end of Spirit Glaive's duration. There's a couple other ones that just reduce the cooldown of Spirit Glaive. So if that's your playstyle, go ahead and check that out. I kind of use Spirit Glaive in niche situations and one-on-one situations. I feel like since it is a bit of a skill shot, I don't find myself getting close enough to use it. I personally, my playstyle, I like to stay max range. I'll talk more about positioning, staying max range in the gameplay analysis, so you'll kind of see my playstyle. But don't get me wrong, Spirit Glaive is great. I do use it often. I just don't think I use it enough to justify spending 3 or 4 talent points on this side of the tree. The next section, cooldowns and macros, I'm pulling directly from my first video. So if you've seen that, that already, go ahead and skip forward. And if you have seen my past 2 videos and you haven't subscribed yet, you're a chud. Feel free to pause the video and read each defensive on your own, but I'll give you a quick interpretation of how I use them. To me, the most important, Big Bad Voodoo and Vol'jin's Vigil, as well as Mirage. When I come up against certain classes that I know are going to one-shot me, if I don't anticipate their go by pressing these buttons, I'm pretty much screwed. When I'm about to die, I just press Mirage. Obviously, it's my reset ability. A couple interesting things about it. You can eat and drink without breaking the stealth. You could bandage without breaking the stealth. The only thing is I can't see the enemy, so I can't set up for a go. In World PvP, you can mount up, you can start healing yourself. As soon as the mount tick goes off, as soon as the heal tick goes off, that's when you break the stealth. When I'm playing against a stealth class and they open on me, normally I'll trinket and then immediately press Slither and try to get away. Other times I'll just press Vol'jin's Vigil and Shadow Stalker so I can get my space, get my distance, and start slowing and opening up on them. Sometimes just popping trinket and using Slither, it's a good getaway, and it forces classes to use their spells and everything. They're trying to slow you down, they're trying to stun you, whatever they might be trying to do, it's all going to miss because Slither completely negates spells and ranged attacks. So it's a good way to bait out some of their cooldowns. Swift Idol and Death Drought are both situational. Obviously, Death Drought is Feign Death, so I'll just use that to interrupt a spell cast or something. Swift Idol, I'll normally just drop it when I'm trying to pillar hump against a caster, or if I know I have a good distance gap on melee, and this will just help me keep that gap without getting slowed as much. As for macros, pretty self-explanatory, but here's my first one. It's just my big body burst. It's 3 abilities pushed into one with my trinket. They do vary a little in cooldowns, so when I know I have a window to burst, I'm just pressing it anyway. Sometimes you'll get that Mimic Ward off without the rest of it triggering, and that's still great because Mimic Ward is the biggest button in this macro. My next macro is for Call of Azeroth. I just add Mimic Ward to it because Mimic Ward has a very similar cooldown. There's 40 seconds for Call of Azeroth and 1 minute for Mimic Ward, so for longer fights, when I know I can get a second Call of Azeroth right away, if I can get that Mimic Ward with it, I like to drop everything all at once for a second small go, 1 minute after my big go. Gameplay analysis. We're going to start with an Arathi Basin. I will be speeding up some of the clips when it's boring, but as you can see on the end leaderboard after the game, we fragged out pretty hard, so I figured I'd show you some fun moments in this one. I captured the mine, then I went over to the farm, and I knew there was someone stealthed here, so I dropped some totems and I decided to bait him out. Once he comes out, we're going to immediately hit him with a slow, and then we're going to use my sprint to get some distance, drop all my cooldowns, my big macro that you saw before. He does some immune ability. Then he teleports to me and goes Scarab form, but it doesn't matter. My totems and my go is still down, as you can see on the left. So I got plenty of damage for him, as well as with a little help from that Venomancer. When this Reaper gets in range, I hit him with a slow and load up a big Spirit Glaive. I don't have any big cooldowns, but I can still burst. A Reaper this close to me is a problem, so I drop my stun totem and I try to loop back around so he's in range of it. It does hit him, but he trinkets, gets out, and he ends up killing me. In hindsight, I should have pressed Mirage, or at least Slither, to try and get out. Coming off the res, this is a good example of some larger scale combat and what it looks like to just kind of sit back, use your range, and bait people out of position while not getting out of position myself. I'm constantly checking and keeping my eye on the people at the flag. As you can see, Rockane seems to be a healer, so you're constantly trying to see who are the healers, scanning them, and then scanning who is going to attack me, if anyone. If nobody, we're just going to constantly DPS and put out as much damage as we can. Looks like that guy went out of range from his healer, so that was an easy kill. Here, we're going to DPS a little bit. It looks like this guy is getting a little bit too close. We're going to step back. We're keeping our range as much as we can and just pumping. Spirit Glaive comes down. That means we have good potential for AoE. I'm waiting for my Reclamation to transform into its AoE. As you can see here, it goes to Spirit Volley. So we're going to get a bit of AoE coming out. This wasn't anything too crazy on my part, as we kind of just overtook them. We had more people. We outpressured their healer. But this is a good example to show what your bread and butter looks like when you're in large scale combat. It might not always be so flashy. You're going to constantly just be scanning to see which enemy players in their front line might potentially go for you, so you can step back. If none, then you can step forward, take your space, and try to pressure their healers. We have have a silence, you're gonna try to use it if you can. Sometimes that one button, that one silence can turn the tide for a whole large scale PvP battle. Coming off the blacksmith, we mount up, we're gonna look towards farm, but something some of you chuds never do is help your teammates. If you wanna just zerg toward the POI, go for it, but always help your teammates. As we can see, one guy running toward blacksmith, we hit him with that deadly slow. We're gonna dot him up a little bit and then just start opening on him. This whole little interaction turns into like a 3v4-ish, 4v5, something like that. But as you can see here, I get targeted, so I immediately slither. This is what I was talking about positioning. We're gonna take our space and then immediately just start opening up. I did drop a stun totem. I anticipated this guy coming forward. The stun does land. I'm trying to finish off that kill, but we can't really get it. So what we're gonna do is just get our position, drop our defenses, and try to take a 1v1 here, 1v2. He does fall back. This is when we can kind of clean up. As you can see, the majority of our rotation is just Spirit Volley and Malefic Arrow with the occasional Spirit Glaive. We have a variety of utility, and if you don't use it correctly, our class will just fall over because we're not putting ourselves in the proper position to do the damage we're supposed to do. One more look at just a clean rotation. I run up on this guy for a 1v1. He's trying to get away, he can't mount yet, so I slow, drop everything, all my big cooldowns, and you can see the damage. This is what we're supposed to do if you're in the right position. Another good example of some larger scale combat, some team fight. We come up, I check my right to make sure I won't get ganked, nobody coming from the spawn. We're gonna try and open up. I wanna drop a Spirit Glaive and then get my Spirit Volley going. Here's the Spirit Glaive. Big AoE damage coming in. We just spam that Spirit Volley and the Malefic Arrow as much as we can. I'm constantly stepping back and making sure I won't be the first person targeted by the front line if they decide to pull out. It's important that when our Reclamation turns into Spirit Volley, that you're targeting somebody who's in the biggest cluster of nameplates. Your Spirit Volley doesn't have the largest AoE range, so when you do see people clump together, that's where you want to throw your Spirit Volleys to do the most damage, in turn pressuring their healers more and more. In my opinion, Arena's more fun than large-scale combats, because when you're just sitting in the backline, pumping and pumping, the only skill expression you really get out of this character is when people do pressure you, and you have to use some of your utility to get out, to put yourself in a position to deal more damage. Other than that, I feel like I'm just kind of sitting in the back, watching my front line get blown to bits, while I get to sit back and see big number. But if this is your playstyle, I promise you, if you follow this guide, you absolutely will top frag.